Y'all, I want to deal with this concept of the so-called pick me. And I'm thinking now they're being called pick Mishas and also being improperly called mammies. Now, everything that I've learned and understood about the plantation and how it was ran, the hierarchy of the plantation, the positions that the house nigga, field nigga, bed wenches, the bucks. Understanding these positions, the mammy, based on my understanding, and y'all feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, the mammy was the, typically larger black woman with a motherly look about her, and her job was to help the slaves fall in line with what massa wanted in an effort to impress massa, so she would receive slightly, just slightly better treatment. That was her role. Now y'all correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's what the mammy did. She was a helping hand of massa. She helped decide who was punished, why they should be punished, if they weren't acting right. Right? And they're calling the black women who will take time out to defend the black man. And understand, I guess, and when I look at this, I don't look at it as necessarily defending black men or defending black women. It's just understanding white supremacy. I mean, it just is what it is to me. It is what it is. It's understanding white supremacy and what they want you to be doing. Are you behaving in a way that white supremacy benefits from? Period. The ones that call pick-me's are dispelling propaganda, not allowing society to paint the black man as the most evil, diabolical man on the planet, because we understand that is propaganda. We understand that the black woman is not the most evil, diabolical woman on the planet. We understand this. Well, we should understand this. If we understand the propaganda, if we're understanding the mission of white supremacy and institutional racism, are you conducting yourself in a way that benefits them? If you are, I would argue you the motherfucking mammy. But the so-called pick-me's are the ones that's being called mammies. Now, I'll be looking at the videos on YouTube. I actually found some really great channels, and I need to put a list together and shout these channels out where I see black women that are dealing with the system of white supremacy, as it were. They're not occupying their time trying to prove that the black man is just the worst motherfucker on the planet. He isn't worth anything. He ain't shit. He ain't worth a fuck. They're understanding the intricacies of white supremacy and checking their own behavior as to is what they're doing benefiting the system, keeping the system running functionally, smoothly. They understand that the goal of white supremacy is to have the black man and black woman arguing amongst themselves about whose fault it is and not ever taking time to look in the caves. It is what it is. If you are watching a channel that dedicates themselves to proving that the black man ain't shit, if you are watching channels dedicating themselves to proving the black woman ain't shit, then you are a direct contributor to the system of white supremacy, and thus that makes you my enemy. Even if you call yourself doing it out of goodness of your heart. You feel like it's a service to be provided. Black folk need to know that, you know, black women need to know that black men ain't shit. And until they realize that black men ain't shit, we not gonna make it nowhere. You know, these motherfucking mission statements that I see and hear across YouTube, like, what the fuck is that? The woman that doesn't do that is a pick me. So now you, in your negativity, you will shame her, treat her like she ain't shit, because she's not angry, yelling about how trash every black man in the world is. If she's not doing that, oh, she a pick me. She a mammy. When actually, you the mammy. You're deciding which set of the men in the society, yours, the loins from which you came, you decided who exactly. Come get them, massa. Look what they doing. Because what you're doing is you're devaluing and minimizing black men even more than society's already going to do. So by the time they kill one of them, they're doing society a favor. I mean, look at them. They not raising their kids. They not building anything. They don't got no money. They won't get married like we want them to. Like, so kill them. So what? We don't care. Kill them. Brutalize them. Falsely imprison them. Punish them for not behaving and conducting themselves in a way that you deem fit. That's a motherfucking mammy. Meanwhile, I won't talk about your nefarious, diabolical ways, massa. Don't you worry. I won't tell nobody about all the women that you raping, massa. Don't you worry about that. I'm not going to tell. I'm not even going to report that. I'm going to report on the degeneracy of black men. I keep seeing the role of the mammy being one of coddling. That ain't what they did. Mammy was in a position a lot of times to murder, slit the fucking throat of massa, and she didn't do it. Instead, she pointed out the slaves who weren't behaving the way they were supposed to and decided who received punishment when she could have slit his motherfucking throat. She was shaving him and everything. Could have killed it. To see black women fall for this, be attracted to this energy because of the shortcomings that they may have had with black men, forgetting that they're possibly raising sons. Fuck our sons. You know, that doesn't even matter. Any woman that can see the big picture, oh, she's a pick-me. We gonna shame her for even speaking highly of the black man, for even suggesting that we love the black man. Oh, that's a pick-me-sha right there. And again, y'all, I'm going to get a list of these channels that I've been watching. These are black women that aren't soft on black men, that will call out the fuckery of black men, but they don't dedicate themselves to proving that the black man ain't worth a fuck. They're not dedicating their entire existence to that, because there is no benefit to black people in doing that. They realize as such. They call it down the line. It's few and far between, based on what I've seen so far, and I may see more, but as of now, it's few and far between. Black women are more likely to frequent the channels that are trashing out black men and calling that shit love, tough love. But understand, this is not no fucking love. You are doing exactly what the white man and his mama want you to do. You're doing exactly that. As long as we are arguing and fighting amongst ourselves, as long as we do the devaluing of ourselves for ourselves, we'll do this. Like the white media conglomerate isn't doing it fast enough, we'll come in and jump in and highlight all the degenerates of our society and say that they're not worthy. Aren't black men being killed fast enough? That's not enough? At the rate that they're already doing it, that's not enough. It's not fast enough. So no, you're going to go get on YouTube and try to speed up the process. Try to prove that black men are worthless anyway. So when they're killed, so what? Because that's what you're doing. When they're murdered, so what? And any woman who shows up that actually respects black men, oh, we're going to shame her. We're going to call her a pick-me because being picked by a black man is the worst thing that could ever happen in life, right? I mean, this is the attitude that these bitches have. To be picked by my counterpart. To be picked by my soulmate, because this type of shit y'all believe in anyway, right? To gain the respect and reverence of my soulmate. To give respect and reverence to my soulmate, despite what I've been through with them. That's pick-me-ish. Black women will tell you that that's pick-me-ish. Even though the same black women are pick-me's, the question is, who are they trying to be picked by? That's the question. Because if you're not trying to be picked by black men, who are you trying to be picked by? Who are you trying to impress? Who are you cheerleading for? Who are you with? Because we can't have a conversation about that. If you don't want to be picked by a black man, lady, who are you with? God forbid a black man feel like he not hated by the woman he laying with. God forbid he feels that. God forbid he feels love from black women. Pick me. That's what y'all gonna say. Like, it's really, to me, it blows my mind that this type of behavior is even respected. Because that ain't something the caves did. The caves didn't force, black women to call other black women pick-me's, and if they don't just outrightly hate black men like that. The caves didn't do that. That was something that black women decided was relevant. The same thing happens to black men being called simps. And I've made videos talking about that. Same thing is happening. God forbid you show love and reverence to your motherfucking soulmate. God forbid you make black women feel loved. God forbid you defend them. Because now you got niggas that'll call you a fucking simp. Now understand, simping is a real thing. Simping is a real thing. But for the reasons that you will be called a simp, or for the reasons that somebody would call you a pick-me, is just you recognize the propaganda. And you're not gonna let it work on you. You're surrounded by black men who do not act and conduct themselves in ways that are damaging to black women. And you can't even honor those men without being called a pick-me. You can't even honor your father. Because of course we know, black men aren't there. We never raising our kids. Well, at the times that black men are raising their kids, their daughters can't even show love for that without being called a pick-me. They saw their fathers raising them. They saw their uncles raising their kids. They can't even acknowledge that those men exist without being called a pick-me. What? That's okay? Because you so hard and you so gangster that you can get on fucking videos and just dog out black men. That's your claim to fame. Not seeing how you being used by white supremacy. And you may not give a fuck about that. That's fine. But I'm not going to allow you to act like you give a fuck about that. All the while, you spend all your time treating your soulmate like the fucking enemy. It doesn't make any sense. And I appreciate the women who get on YouTube who at least tackle the idea of white supremacy and institutional racism. I appreciate that. I do. I really, really do. Because I see how easy it is to fall into, trashing black men for views or for money or for whatever. Not seeing the role that you're playing. The ones y'all calling pick-me's ain't the mammies. You are the motherfucking mammy. Mammies weren't coddling black men on plantations. They were trying to control the black men on plantations, and if they couldn't be controlled, then they made sure that the right slave got punished. That's all the fuck you bitches are doing out here. That's it. That is all. When society goes to deal out punishment, you're making sure that they punish the black man. You're making sure that we stay the number one target out here. You're making sure that they continue to see that we're not unified in any type of way. This does not mean you can't criticize black men. Again, the channels I've been watching, they keep it fair. They own ass, and I love that. They own ass. They being real about the relationships between black men and black women. Well, they're not going to just say it's the black man's fault. They're not trying to make the black woman feel like she perfect. Like she could just sit down and put her fucking feet up and chill. None of us are in a position where we can put our feet up and chill. None of us are. But if you say anything about black women and some of the behaviors they conduct themselves in, if you're a black woman and you talk about some of the behaviors of black women, you'll get called a pick-me, pick-misha, a mammy. Even if you're telling the truth about the behaviors you see black women conduct themselves in. Because you're going to talk about the behavior you see black men conduct themselves in too. But even if you branch out to expose the behaviors that you yourself as a black woman see amongst your peers, the women you've hung around, your own mother, your family members, even if you talk about the dysfunctional behavior of black women themselves, you become a pick-me. Because you're not just going to say black women perfect and black men ain't shit and it's all the black man's fault and everything that happens out here is the black man's fault. If you're not going to follow that narrative, you become a goddamn pick-me. And this is acceptable in this society, in the black community, even in the black extended social media community. I will be shouting out those channels. I may have to end up putting them in the comment section, the ones that I've seen so far. I'll put those in the comment section. You guys can check them out. Some of you may already be on up to knowing about these people. My YouTube game has been trash over the years. It's just been trash. And I've actually taken the time to sub to some of these channels. The ones that I've seen, again, you may be familiar with, but they're new to me. And I like what I'm hearing. I love hearing black women who sound militant. You know, I love that militancy where they're not wasting all of their aggression on black men. They're putting some of their aggression, at least some of their aggression, towards the system of white supremacy and institutional racism. I love that shit. I love it. But that's all the fuck I wanted to say, man. I'm tired of seeing this term of pick me being used as a negative term to shame black women, like all black women supposed to just hate black men. Because you do? Because you found reason to? Because you went to the motherfucking on the internet and found some articles about bullshit that black men are doing, because they do be on some bullshit, but you found those articles and that's your justification for hating black men, and now every black woman must also hate black men too, and if she don't, come on now. There's something very dysfunctional about that, and y'all are making the white supremacists so happy. That's what mammies do. White supremacy isn't happy about the pick-me's because the pick-me's can see through the propaganda. Like, white supremacy don't give a fuck nothing about toting up or touting up or putting the pick-me's up on their shoulders, because nah, pick-me's are dealing with white supremacy. They the ones dealing with it, seeing it for what it is. White supremacy love you. White supremacy loves you. Because you refuse to breathe life into the very men you're calling to protect you. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Badger them, beat them down, tell them they ain't shit. That'll inspire them. But then we must ask ourselves, the more and more I look at YouTube, who's actually trying to bring black people together so we can win? Who's really doing that? Who's actually interested in that? But that's all the fuck I wanted to say, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, comment if you feel the need to comment. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. Black first, second, and third. And we see the propaganda. We see the war being waged against us. And whether you call us pick-me's or simps or whatever the fuck you want to call us, it doesn't fucking matter. We know who our enemy is. We understand the effects of the things that our enemies have done and how it's affected the psychology of our people. And we still not gonna sit around and use our platforms to hate one another. That's all the fuck I wanted to say. I'm out.